I'm getting your moldy milk out of our fucking...
Shut up.
And out of our drain. Are you live?
Yeah, I'm live. You can go away. I don't know who's coming in here since I've never gone live in my life.
Invite your friends. Can you do that?
I got one friend. I don't even know how to see any comments here. What have I tried? Nope. Maybe there. Live chat. All messages are visible. Hey, look, I'm live. Now I can see comments. I've never done a live, but I'm doing a live because I failed everyone today, and I had a very busy day, and I didn't get a chance to record, so I didn't have a video. So I figured you guys would enjoy more of a live video than an actual video. So, big moment here, pal. I see you, Doy. More people are coming in slowly as we get going here. I know. I've never gone live there, Troy. So if you have any questions, I'll be able to answer some questions. I'll be live here for a little bit. Then I got to get up there and knock out some e-tunes for you boys. And I got to catch up on my emails for today. But here we are. Thoughts on the Gen 2 Garrett. I think a lot of us already know that I'm not a huge Garrett guy anymore. Used to run Garrett turbos. They're great turbos. Don't get me wrong. They will live. They will work well. They just lack in the power department every time. I just tuned a 3584 RS actually a couple days ago. Some of you might have seen that we are now helping Metro Performance. We are now tuning for them. We made 625 at 37 pounds on that car. They have a low reading dyno over there. Maxed out what I could with the wastegate spring. But you guys will have seen that I mainly precision turbo base. They never let me down in the power department, and they have been phenomenal. We like to use FP turbos as well, as a lot of you already know. Those turbos have been great by us. BCP turbos are another good one. Yeah, that answers that a bit. But Johnny Tran said, how's the dyno? Dyno is good, John. Actually, I fixed the other issue that I just had the other day with it, where it wasn't sliding. It wasn't, the wheelbase adjustment wasn't working. And it was as simple as a pin came out on the dyno. So definitely, as time goes on, working through the kinks, I think we got a pretty good handle on it now. But as every day goes on, there's still some things I'm sure that will come up. We're still finishing the install on that as well. So with time will tell, I guess. Do you recommend a heat shield for passenger side ABCS on the bottom? Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to run it. The factory one does the job just fine. If you had a manifold that was too close on there, honestly, I would probably rethink what manifold you're using. I see the other one in here, 6266 for 6466. On the Subaru platform, there is no reason for you to ever use a 6266. The 6466 will outspool and outpower the 6266 on the Subaru platform. So that's where my recommendation comes, is to buy a 6466. I can bring those turbos in pretty quick. Is the Type RA worth buying? I definitely would say I miss our black RA that we had. But as far as like a daily driver car and driving it, I did not enjoy it at all. That car had so much road noise from not having any kind of sound protection in it. Sound deadening is the right term. So yeah, if you're going to daily drive the RA, I don't know if I would recommend it unless you don't mind road noise, because it was definitely really loud. What's up, Jeremy? Always blame the tuner. Yeah, what else we got in here? Thoughts on water map? You know, I probably get that question the most. Going back about 10 years, we had E85, and then we lost our E85 pump. So for a long time, we didn't have E85. So I was always kind of pushing the limits on pump gas, of those of you who've been watching for a long time. I had ventured off with the pump plus methanol and made decent power. You know, back then that was like a original OG 35R maxed out 34 PSI on pumping methanol, and it made good power. Don't get me wrong, but it's definitely not something I recommend. If you abuse it, you have a good chance of hurting the internals in the engine because it's almost like injecting too much water in the engine, which obviously water can't combust. So there's some things that come to the downside of that. But 5858, that's a great turbo on an FA20. You're probably going to notice it's still going to be a little bit on the lazier side, obviously being a 2-liter, but I've seen good results on them. It's definitely going to come in a lot sooner than say like a 6266 or 6466 on the FA20. But you kind of see a lot of people do 6062s. I think there's a 5862, and then the 5858 is probably the most common for the FA20. Going back in the comments here, what hot housing do you recommend for 7275? I would definitely recommend the .96 T4 V-band for that turbo. That's a really good one.
Did you get this today?
I did not get that package today. Thoughts on the S366? Not that big of a fan of the Borg Warners. I think that they're just a lazy, unproductive turbo on a Subaru. What else we got in here? I'm getting kind of caught up in the comments up top. Would you recommend the IAG 76mm throttle body for 6466? It would never be not beneficial for you to do an upgraded throttle body. I definitely would recommend that, as it will help airflow, especially if you have an aftermarket intake manifold. Where are BCT turbos made, or who makes them? I mean, as far as I know, BCP makes their turbos, but I worked closely with them and worked with their products, but I didn't ask them indirectly where their turbos were made out of. Dimitri, you still owe me a ride in the blue car since the last time. Pal, you got the ride of a life. You got the one where we broke the transmission into a million pieces. When are you and Devin doing a collaboration build? I don't know. I think our tuning videos are enough of a collaboration for you guys there. Between the both of us, I don't think we really have the time to break away and just do a build together. What's up to everybody that's saying hi? I'm trying to keep up with the comments in here just so I can answer some more. Should I go for a Pro Tune for just intake and exhaust and headers? I absolutely would recommend a Pro Tune for any of you that buy an STI that you may not know the history of or the tuning history of. Even if you do know the tuning history of, I would definitely recommend a Pro Tune over an OTS map. That way you can know exactly what's on your car. Your tuner can put a hotter map on it or something reliable and safe. 83 friends right now is where I'm up to. Maybe if I did more lives, there'd be more, but this is enough questions in here. What's the plan? I need to get the car back up there. I mean, buy that turbo kit and buy a BRZ intake manifold, and we can definitely party there, Nate. How's it going, Tim? Making some good progress on your build in the shop. Hopefully you enjoyed your video that went up. Sorry that I had to throw in a bunch of RA content with the blocks, because it seems no one can kind of grasp the aspect that a 1,000 wheel on a stock block is reckless and will blow up eventually. Epi Green versus BCP 500. I hear the BCP will spool faster. I've definitely worked with both, and I can tell you the Epi Green definitely spools faster, in my opinion. Epi Green comes into full power with my tunes at 4,000 RPMs with a front mount, or 3,700 with a top mount. So definitely really quick. The BCP 500 Plus, if I recall, it was around 4,300. Full power, everything, so still close, but kind of similar to what an FP Black would come into. Pal!
I'm trying to be quiet.
Blame the wife. She's in here making a bunch of ruckus. Go away.
I'm doing dishes.
How good are Jesse Cats at preventing CLs? You know, every car is a little bit different on that, Dylan. Some cars are more picky. The newer cars, 2019 and plus, have a really tough logic in them that you may still get a code where you got to space out the O2 sensor or do something to kind of get around that. FA20s are definitely the ones that are really picky about it as well. So you got to change some tables in the ECU to kind of make them a little bit softer on how they think about that logic. But definitely just depends on the car, to be honest with you. How's the Lambo? Any upgrades coming soon? You plan to tune on your new dyno sometime soon. So the Lambo, I partnered up with Sheepy, as a lot of you guys already know. I've known Alex many, many years back when he was in the Hondas and he was also working in his garage. That's part of why I chose him to go on my Lambo build, because I felt like, you know, you support small businesses, right? Yeah, they've definitely grown to be a much larger business now, but I felt like, you know, they're small in my mind just because that's where I remember Alex. So I reached out to him, and our relationship together, it really doesn't make me want to tune the Lambo or go through it, because he's very open and he'll do anything I want with the car. So if I have someone like that, why, when I really don't have the time to spend with a new platform to sit down and learn logic? And obviously there's failures that come with that, whereas Alex has a lot of information and time with that car and that ECU in that car. So I feel like that was the better route for me. So as far as tuning it on my own dyno, no, I don't have any intentions. I really don't even care to put the car on the dyno when it comes back. It's already been on one. It made 1,500 of them there, and then I'm sure it'll make some more once it comes back on the street. Let's move down here so I don't get too caught up. If I had an 06 STI and I want to have fun, no braking, daily driver, what mods do you think I should do? I love your content. Thank you, Rodrigo. 06 STI, if you're starting with a stock car, I would recommend to pick up an access port for it, pick up just, you know, the basic mods, intake, downpipe exhaust, get a Pro Tune on it, and I would add probably a fuel pump in there. You're a little bit limited by your fuel system, being that it's a side feed car. It does get quite a bit more expensive to upgrade the fuel system. So at that point, I would honestly just enjoy the car at Stage 2. They're a blast. Honestly, Stage 2 STIs are one of my favorite cars. I know that'll probably sound crazy to you guys, but the response of them and just how they drive, like, they're a lot of fun, guys. And then when you get bored of that, you can definitely venture into your fuel system and go down our normal range of doing like an FP Green or, you know, one of our 500 packages. I haven't seen you work on a GC8. What's your opinion on the platform? You know, it kind of comes back to the realm of our Foresters. There's a lot of work to be put into those cars to get them to where I would personally want them. And that kind of comes, like I said, on the Forester, being that it never came STI drivetrain in the States. So there's quite a bit of work to go with that. Not saying I don't like them. It's just I just haven't ventured off into one. Alex, how about our Tomei equal length headers? Tomei equal length headers are fine. I just think that you'll find more power. I know you'll find more power with an ETS or a Killer B equal length header. What's wrong with the Mustang the other day? Mustang dyno, sorry. It's a new dyno install, guys. Obviously, it transferred locations from my shop over to theirs. And during that process, there's always a risk that some calibration got thrown off or something got set up wrong. So they called Mustang and they went through the recalibration progress. It sounds like they got it working right and it's reading better. They put a stock STI on there and it made 265 to 270 wheel. They put another car on it that I had tuned while I was there. It was a simple 06 STI stock motor. It had a stock location unknown ATP GT30 71 or 76. Again, stock motor. I think I had that thing on 19 pounds and it made 325 on the Mustang. So pretty good power, to be honest with you. If you added that 13%, it'd be around the 370 region. So I'd say seems like she's back up to where she is, but I think Tanner's going to be making a trip down there before I do. I'm going to be going back down there. I'm thinking January 6th for the next tuning trip, and then we'll find out. Moving down here. What recommendation for daily driving and power goal? 450 to 500. What turbo? Sorry. I would definitely recommend an FP Green or FP Black. Those seem to be our main go-to. And to be honest with you, I'm leaning more towards the FP Blacks anymore just because I can make them spool within 200 RPMs of a green, but I can make them hold their power all the way out the power band. So, for example, let's say I bring it in at 20 pounds, I can hold 20 pounds all the way throughout. Now, 20 pounds on a green, I can hold that throughout as well. But when you start getting up into the 30 PSI region, that's when they start coming up and they'll hit 30 and then it'll taper down to like 25 out the back, give or take a little bit. Sounds good, Dimitri. One day I'll get to see you. Nate, get a damn Evo again already? No, I've been looking though. I've been looking for an Evo 9. Something as close to stock as I can. I've never got to enjoy one, to be honest with you, so I wanted to get one that was as close to stock as I could and then do my own additions to it and kind of learn more on those so that way I can stop bugging my boy Ronnie over at Speed Lab Performance. He is my mentor with the Evo stuff, and he is phenomenal. So I would like to stop bugging him a lot more about the Evo stuff and tuning. He's been behind the scenes, so definitely shout out to my boy Ronnie. Thoughts on fabricating clip, snap, gauge pod mounts instead of drilling double-sided tape pod mounts? I mean, you can definitely fabricate something to have a better gauge pod mount, but I'm not a big fan of gauges. Follow the White Rabbit. Sebastian, how's it going, buddy? He's actually shipping his car up, which he says right here. Talked to the shipper today. Car should be heading your way at the end of the week or the beginning of next. Can't wait to be back on the road. I appreciate you, Sebastian. Got all your parts sitting on the shelf. I'm excited to see that build come along as well. He had bought one of our BBR Stage 4 blocks and one of our Stage 4 head packages, so his car will be coming soon. I believe it's a 20 or 21 STI, if I recall correctly. Would you delete the factory oil cooler on a street car? Absolutely not, Antonio. I would leave the oil cooler on it. I know the OEM one's not the best one in the world, but to be honest with you, it does fine for most of our builds that we do. If you're trying to do some autocross or road course stuff, I would definitely recommend an upgraded oil cooler, but I would definitely not just remove it off the car. Opinions on nitrous on the EJ. We definitely ran nitrous. That was on Justin's car. We went 9.5 at 148 with an FP Black. We had a nice little subtle, small 200 shot on that baby. So we started out at 50 shot, and I think we ended that dyno session at 150 shot because 50 just wasn't enough. We gained 180 wheel off of a 200 shot, though. That shit was rowdy. It made it was like 675 or 680 on the Mustang, and it made 680 torque. Thing was a beast. What happened to the Chase? No, I Eat Motherfuckers merch. I haven't made any of that stuff there. I just had it in stickers. That was kind of an old day thing. How hard is it to do a 5-speed swap in an 06 FXT? I want to do one bad. Being that you're already a 5-speed, if you are, how hard is it to do a 5-speed swap in 06? It depends. If you're 5-speed or an auto, you're going to have to kind of fill into our Forester build because it was an auto, obviously, and now I'm doing a 6-speed manual, so it's going to be a lot of relatable to you. If you have a manual already, it's pretty much drop and go. Thanks, Tim. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and we are making some progress. I just found out that the little half-moon seals today were about a week out, so that was not ideal. So I'm trying to figure out another solution for you, Tim, on that. It's little half-moon seals, by the way. If you don't know what those are, they're on the older STI heads for the valve cover gaskets, so definitely got to find some of those. What else we got in here? Epic Green all day. I agree. I love me some FP Greens. How much power can I get from a TD05 16G? To be honest with you, expect stock power out of an STI turbo. Probably around 315 to 330 out of that 16G. I know, Doy, you had a spicy FP Green unit there. 34 PSI and 567 wheel torque. Junior hit it. I would love to see some Pac-Man merch. Well, maybe I can incorporate that. Debating on FP Green or FP Black. Just go ahead and go with the black, to be honest. I know it's more of a pain to fit, but to be honest with you, why not? It's worth it. You're only going to lose 200 RPMs of spool time. I mean, is it really worth it not to go with black when they're damn near the same price? So that's what I would choose. Best year of STI to get. That's a tough one. Everybody that has watched the channel for some time has heard me say 07 STIs are the best year. And I still love me some 07 STIs. But you're going to find this odd, 17 STI. Why? That was my first brand new car ever and first brand new STI. So I'm a little bit leaning towards that. My goal with Hyper Blue. That's my favorite Subaru. Hyper Blue, barn find. She just sits in the shop. She's covered in multiple layers of dust, and I don't know. To be honest with you guys, I really don't get a lot of time for personal cars. The moment that I do work on personal cars, I feel and am constantly behind once I do work on them. So it makes it really tough. especially when you see like stuff like this for Vlogmas, where it looks all good on video, right? Because you guys are getting videos all the time, but in the end, it definitely makes things a lot more stressful because I just don't have the time to work on my own car all the time. What do you recommend for the best response for 650 wheel? Honestly, 6466, 105 housing. I can bring those turbos in as early as 4,300 RPM. So that's what I would recommend. G series turbos, honestly, I've tuned a couple and I was not impressed by any way by them. Lacked in the power department and also were lazy in the spool department. Tuning Q, how do you keep the heads down tuning wise in regards to ignition timing? Calm ignition timing, approaching peak torque, and taper out, or trade secret. You know, you're probably surprised I'm even responding back to this. And tuning is not magic, but there is magic ways behind it. Different theories. Everyone's going to always have their own opinion on what's best. Obviously, results are what matter most, and I feel like I've done a really good job at giving you guys results. As far as laying it all out and being a mentor or a teacher, I don't really want to give out what I do because obviously that's what makes me what I am. But I'll give you one tip, and that is smooth is key. How do you like the Cosworth manifolds? Well, if you watched the last video of Jeff's car, I made a comment in there that they lack in the float department, and then I ate my words as that car made 1170. So I feel like I've been lied to in the past. I love Cosworth manifolds. I think they're one of the best looking manifolds that are out there for Subaru. But I always was told that they lacked in flow, and I didn't do too many of them until recently, and that one amazed me. I've had Effie green and Effie black. The black is much more fun. I do agree. It holds power out better in the back. How's it going down there in California? What's wrong with your old Mustang dyno? I did respond to that a little bit earlier. I don't know if you can go back. I'm trying to make my way down in comments here. Holy cow. I probably should scroll down more. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just trying to go back to where I was with the comments because I made the mistake of scrolling all the way down. Every time I look at different turbos, I keep getting redirected to that FP green. Looks like I need to quit looking at other turbos. Jeremy? Just depends on your power goal, to be honest with you. I mean, like everyone saying in here, an FE black, definitely not a bad route. You know, it's always nice to have a little bit more so that way you can lean on it more. Best response for 650 wheel, I did just touch the base on that one. Thoughts on twin scroll? I have a JDM STI. I want to keep twin scroll. Honestly, I think twin scroll is kind of an outdated technology. It works, don't get me wrong. I don't really see a need for a twin scroll unless you're like 42R based and bigger. VAs ran a twin scroll kit well before these V-bands came out for the 42Rs. And it does great. It does phenomenal. Anymore, though, we just use the V-bands. I come to find out that they spool quicker in some aspects and they make good power up to a certain point. Now, kind of to get off that topic, we do max out those V-bands, like the 6870 T3 105 housing. We do max that out. Same thing with the 6466. So you could benefit by having a larger T4 exhaust housing on there, but figured I'd go a little bit off on that. I'm in Australia. Would you e-tune my car? Yes, Dolphin, I would e-tune your car. If you guys are looking for e-tunes, you can always email me at bbrtuned@gmail.com. Any plans of Strayed to release their turbo kits to the public? George, actually, we were working on this for quite some time. Back when Strayed had a different name under Ranchbuilt, which is what some of you will always know them as from when I was talking about them before. We were already working on that. It's something that definitely I could see coming out in the future. They're just trying to get into their new shop right now before going down that road. What else we got in here? You suck at tuning, you blow all Devin's cars up. Nah, I think they're all still running. How did you get into Subaru work? I know you started doing side work at Car Toys, but what made you decide to work on cars, ASE certified? So I did work at Car Toys for about 3 years, and prior to Car Toys, I worked in another shop that I was partners with. Unfortunately, my partner got in a bad car accident, And one of my friends that was an employee then passed away. The other one was severely handicapped. And then at that time, I went back to car toys, and I was working out of my house in my garage to kind of do side work like you're mentioning there. And I don't know if I'd say once it took off, but the wife was the main thing. She was pushing me because she knew I wasn't happy at car toys to walk away from car toys. And it was a big step. I mean, I wasn't sure if it was going to be the right one. Obviously, I have bills like anyone else. That was a big step. So once I did make it, though, all the stress and everything, everybody stresses, right? And owning your own business is always going to be stressful in different aspects. But everything kind of fell into place and took off, and I couldn't be more grateful that I took that first step and took the risk and trusted that myself I would do something with it. So that would be how I would respond to that. What was the best timing kit for an STI of 400 horsepower? OEM. I used tons of Gates kits without a problem. I know some people might comment they've had issues with them, but I've used hundreds, maybe even 1,000 Gates kits over in the past, never had a problem. Right now they're on a back order, so I've been using the IAG timing belt kits. Hi Kyle, how's it going? I know you're busy in the U.S., but come check us out. We're out here in the Caribbean. Shit. If I could get to the Caribbean, damn, my wife would be happy. But I don't ever leave. When are you going to do a precision stock STI location? Actually, I did one. They say it makes 630 wheel, maybe more. I can't remember off the top of my head what it made. It was a bit lazier. Obviously, I'm a big precision fan. I felt that it was subpar to what the FP Black did, but then again, I sent it. This customer of mine, we've been testing several different turbos, and I help him out. He has just a basic piston rod motor, ARP 6.5s, cams, ported heads, etc. It had that precision stock location turbo on it, and I had it on 46 pounds. That shit ripped. I think he actually picked a different turbo to try out next, but I haven't heard from him lately. I know I'm pretty far back in the comments, guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to go out to him here. Have you seen the new Haltech UC10 dash? I did see that. My leeriness is fitting it into a dash, so I definitely would like to see. It's a 2020 Conrari? I don't even know how to spell it. Special edition? Well, I'm excited to see that one, Sebastian. Why are you so cute? Fuck. Yeah, you guys already know I'm missing all the hair up here. Remember that stress talk I was talking about? That's where it's all gone. What are your thoughts and experience on an NA 2.5 intake manifold? I don't think I've ever heard you talk about that one. That's probably a good one to touch on. I had a car show up today, and I am not one to recommend that NA 2.5i manifold. End of the day, it's made for an NA engine, right? It doesn't have that many vacuum ports on it. It's not the best looking manifold. I've had issues with drivability being inconsistent. It lacks in the power department. All around, not worth your time. Just leave a stock STI intake manifold on it or buy a real manifold. I see John White is in here, but it doesn't show me the message. I'm building my hatch to be a fully built BC280 6466 monster. Really want you to tune with you. Would you e-tune with me? Even if I rented a Dyno, or do you prefer a street tune? I would e-tune either way. Dyno does make it easier in some aspects, especially when you're making big power on the street. Obviously, safety comes into a role, but definitely I would take care of you on e-tuning. Smedia, Tanner's in here. Party? I'm always in for a party, Tanner. You already know that. Thank you. I appreciate your guys' support. Definitely for everyone that's in here. Looks like we're up to 155 people, and 30 minutes went by, and it feels like 5 minutes, so that would be a win. I'm a tuner as well. It's nice to see you doing well. I need a dyno soon. Maybe I should rent one for now. To be honest with you, and by the way, thank you very much. I had bought my dyno before I even had a spot for it. I was out of my house originally. Made many jokes about putting it inside my 2-car garage. And we all know Bob, my neighbor, would never have enjoyed or allowed that to happen. But buying a dyno, definitely nerve-wracking, huge expense. A lot of us, it's hard to wrap our head around, right, to be able to buy a dyno. But best thing I ever did, and I would highly recommend, even if you had a place that you could rent one out, it will better you as a tuner. You'll be able to see the changes you're making at any RPM, or making small changes, right? You can be able to see what that degree at peak torque is doing, or what that degree up at the top end of the power band is doing, what cam timing is doing. A dyno will only make you a better tuner. But thank you very much. I appreciate you. It's always nice to see another fellow tuner in here. 17 STI gain. That's right, Tanner. I like that 17 STI. FP Black versus FP0. So interesting fact there. They discontinued the FP0, right? So you kind of see they have pretty high prices in the used market. I'm not a huge FP0. I've only had FP0 fan. I've only had one really do well, and it made 800 wheel on my virtual dyno at 40 pounds. That car was fucking fast. That thing ripped. Outside of that, though, I just didn't have good results with them. They seemed to lack in the power department. Yeah, we went 10.2 at 137 on our stock motor. But when I put it on the Mustang dyno, I think it was like 570, and it tapped out. It wouldn't go anything more. So what I'm getting at, though, the FP Black ball bearing is said to be an FP0. So maybe verify with them. I haven't verified that, but I've been hearing that more recently. Green Speed Overtake BB500, a good option for someone not looking at an FP green or black. If you're not looking for like a FP green or black, I'm kind of curious why. That's usually our entry-level turbo upgrade is to an FP green. A Cobb 20G, they work all right. I've seen good results out of a couple of them if put in the right scenario. Not saying that it's a bad first upgrade, but usually we just kind of overjump it and go up to that FP green or black. BB500, I felt that it fell short, to be honest with you. I felt that it was underwhelming, and I would definitely see an FP green outperform it in every aspect. So sorry if I'm pushing you back to FPs if you don't want to hear that, but that's mainly what we use, and that's what I would push, just because I've used several other ones and it doesn't seem like they compete with them. When are you having all the boys over to the shop for a Christmas party? Shit. I don't know. Getting us all in one place and Vlogmas month? Good luck. I know, that's right, guys. My guys over at FI Performance. My own projects are collecting dust. That's usually how it goes as business owners, honestly. Yeah. The grass is not greener on the other side when it comes to being a shop owner in your personal cars, because they kind of just get to be put on the back burner. I appreciate you, Doy. I'm looking forward to the next aspect of your build. Thank you, John. Appreciate you, buddy. That's my other Hyper Blue boy out there ripping. Would you still recommend a BCP X500R using stock heads on a closed deck? Yeah, I absolutely would. They actually want you to use stock heads or stock camshafts with that turbo. It worked really well. I mean, we went 10.2 at 135 miles an hour with that turbo. And then what else we got in here? Have a great night and week. Thanks, Troy. I appreciate you, buddy. I heard when you do a 5-speed swap to 6-speed swap, you have to tune. I feel like you wouldn't, but what do you think? Yeah, you actually do, because it does change the loads more than you would think. How do I put it? I would almost say going from a 5-speed to a 6-speed wouldn't be as big of a change as, let's say, someone going from a 6-speed to a 5-speed, which no one's really ever going to do that because obviously you have more load per gear. But it definitely would not be a bad idea. Cosworth seems to be great unless your stock location and need the intake to fit, though. Yeah, Tanner's really feeling the heat on that one right now. Will you ever be coming down to Cali? Actually, yes. I just added on Metro Performance as one of my tuning locations, and I'm taking care of them with tuning. They are based out of Marietta, California. So if you're looking for a tune, you can always schedule with them, and I can get you taken care of on their dyno. Best turbo for an autocross car? That depends. If you want to stick with stock location or if you want to do a rotated. So stock location, I know you've heard me say it a million times in here, but FP Green, I can bring them in on a top mount car, which I would definitely recommend a front mount for an autocross car to keep the heat out of there. 4,000 RPMs. Stock STI turbo comes in at 3,400. So to be 600 RPMs later than the STI turbo, it's a really good option. Dual wastegate versus single wastegate external. I think you're talking about twin scroll. We did touch a little bit on that prior in here. I like your videos. They're motivational. That's exactly what I would like to hear from you guys, because I really try to motivate you guys to work on your own projects and set you in the right route, so that way you can only spend your money once. Max power on a VB can make on a stock block. Well, we're about to find out here soon. Hint, hint. Any plans to mod your wife's Audi and get into that platform? I don't know. To be honest with you, I'm so busy with the Subaru work, it makes it hard for me to move over to another platform and have to sit there and make time to adapt and relearn another platform, because I already have so much Subaru work that I really just don't have the time. So maybe, I don't know. You think you'll ever push for 7s? So V8 originally was built for that. You know, I was much younger at that time. And when I had the mindset of 7s, I didn't understand what it takes to go with that. So shout out to Kozmic for damn near getting it done. 8.0 in their STI. That's fucking fast. Guys, it takes a lot to get a car to work and to make it fast and get it down there. Obviously, there's not too many Subarus out there running 7s. Would I like to? Yeah, obviously everybody that is into the high power Subarus would love to. Will I ever push for it? I'll definitely try, but I think I have a lot of learning still to get my car down into the mid-8s and then work my way down first. So hopefully that answers that for you. What kind of transmission or diff fluid would you recommend for a 22WX? I would recommend our BBR cocktail. Excuse me. We have that on our website. That would be a great transmission fluid for you. So, do you still have FAWX, or did you get rid of it? And what about the Lambo? I don't have an FAWX at this time. I've had a few over the past. I definitely just kind of moved away from those projects. The Lambo is still at Sheepy right now. It should be getting ready for transport here soon. Thoughts on a T51R mod? It won't hurt the car at all. I think that it gets annoying after some time. So just make sure that's what you want to do. Looking for a new employee yet? Kind of seems like you could use one. To be honest with you, Tony, I could absolutely use one. But after having my last one with me, I felt like I was babysitting all the time. And after a year, it didn't seem like they caught on. And I was very transparent with him when I did end up letting him go. So that was about 8 or 9 months ago at this point. I don't know. I need someone to work with, or I need someone to work with me. But getting myself to do it again and trust someone, I don't know when that will be.
Question for you.
What do you want, pal?
Should I hop on there and ask you?
No.
How many hoodies and sweaters? 100 in the both?
I don't know. I'm waiting to see the design of the new hoodies so you can go shush.
I just mean quantity.
I don't know. I'm going to figure out when I see the thing first, and then I can tell you.
No.
Yes.
I'm picking a quantity for you.
No. Why would you need to know a quantity if I haven't seen the design yet there, Jared?
Jared.
So show me a design first. Tell him that. That's what I would tell you, Jared. I'm trying to catch up my comments and you're delaying me. Go away.
Good man.
Let's see. Trying to go through and get caught up in here. Our 1/2-inch ARP 2000's okay. Yes, they are okay. We've made as much as 1,200 wheel of them and more. That car that you actually just saw on the dyno that made 1170, that had ARP 2000 1/2-inch studs. Don't get that wrong. Don't be putting no 11 mil 1/2-inch studs in there.
Okay.
Watch out, pal. You might wipe away what's left up there.
I'm trying.
See you in 2 weeks. You better see me. Hopefully it's that 72, 75 car. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate you. I'll keep you updated here on your build. Hopefully I can find those half moons a little bit sooner so I don't have to push your finish date out. Are you going to be working on VBs more? Sorry, I just got in the chat. I work on Tanners, and I also did one for the shop. That's actually the owner of Strades. You actually will probably see that back on the channel again here soon. Let's see. My son drops everything when he hears your content, and he's just 2. Seriously, though. That's awesome to hear. I hope he becomes a little car guy. Or don't put him that way, because then he'll be broke for the rest of his life. I bought an IAG 950 long block, best stock location turbo. I have an AMS intake. You already know the deal. FP Black, if you can afford it. FP Black ball bearing. That shit rips. That shit would make all of 625 to 675, right in that region. Where'd you get the hoodie? You guys should already know that answer. Get it from Vasyn. Are you going to be tuning Evo X? I've tuned several, actually, and I've been more open about doing them for customers as well. Best stock location upgrade for an FA20. To be honest, there's not really that many great ones. FA20, FP Blue, meh. Never been a fan of FP Blue. Don't put an FP Blue even on your EJ, please. Need a BBR Tuned? I'd be happy to get you one, brother. Difference between the 06 and the 07 STI, since you said you like the 07. Definitely the transmission. 07 STI actually has a different ECU in it as well. It has a larger memory, completely different ECU, different wire harness, has one quick connection, and it has a longer gear ratio trans with carbon synchros. S7 and 07 is the best year of the GDs. I think it's a white special edition in the US. I wonder if it's something like the Series White that you have there. I'll have to see when we get here. Is it Pro White or just plain white? Best money spent with my build, getting a tune with you. I'll be back. I appreciate you, sir. I'm happy to be a part of your build, and I look forward to doing more with you in the future. FP Black over to FP0. FP0 is underwhelming. Couldn't agree more. That thing doesn't really work. Actually, they discontinued it because they had problems with it bending the shaft and breaking, which I could see. Have you ever thought about doing an Alfa Romeo? No, I have not. I'm not really a fan of how they look, unfortunately. If you have one, I'm sorry. I don't mean that any disrespect. I have 2 quick questions. Is it worth getting a stock crank cross-drilled? And 2, how possible is 750 wheel on pump gas of a 6870? Cheers from Canada. I will reach out when the time comes. I would be happy to be part of your build. I've been known for pushing the limits on pump gas. 750 wheel, that's definitely pushing the limits on pump gas, even with a 6870. To be honest with you, I use stock cranks. We don't cross-drill. I don't have any issues with them living. 750 wheel on pump, just regular, let's say 92 octane. I don't feel that that's a realistic goal. 600 wheel is pushing things on pump. Past that is pushing it even more. So I would recommend getting some E85 because then we could absolutely. Now, if you want to make bigger power on pump gas, we need a more efficient turbo. Kind of touch base on that. I know you already put a 6870. I would recommend next gen 7275. Yeah, it's not going to be the quickest spooling turbo, but you would be able to make more power with it, more airflow. Did you need to port the head for a 500 wheel of heavy green? No, I do not. I can make that with stock long blocks. How do you feel about MHI 18K for an Evo 9? To be honest with you, I haven't done a whole lot with the Evo 9, so I don't think I could give you an honest opinion with that because all my Evos were all precision turbo-based cars, like 6466 cars and 6870, so I'm just not going to be able to give you a realistic side on that. Sorry. Is it possible for you to estimate what the car makes for power when you E-tune? Yeah, it is. I generally can tell you what the car is making just off of injector duty cycle, the boost number that we are at for that turbo setup or the setup alone. And then we also have virtual dyno as well that we can use, and it's a pretty close aspect. Best injectors are pumping for E85. Let me say it depends on the ECU, because if we're working on, let's say, 06 and older STI ECU, they tend to get a bit crankier when going past the 1300s. I can make 1700s run decent on them. Past that, 2000s, I can definitely do it. It's just, it gets things a little bit harder. 07 STI, I can tell you that FIC 2150s or ID 2000s I can make drive great. John, you need to come up for that fabrication party so we can get that 7275 on there. That's what we need to do. Any experience in EZ30 platform? No, I do not, but I can tell you that I will be in the near future, if you catch my hint. Love your channel. I appreciate the support. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this live today. This is definitely out of my, I don't know if I say out of my comfort zone, but out of my normal aspect here. I messed up today, boys. I posted my video yesterday, and I should have recorded yesterday, but I took a day away from the shop. Doesn't always mean a day away from work. I was still e-tuning and doing emails, and that left me in a position today where I would have had to left early to come home and edit, and then to edit and then get a video up, and it takes about 2 hours to export the video after I edit it, and about another 2 to 3 hours to upload, even with our internet here. So makes it tough. I failed you guys. I didn't get to do a video today or record. So tomorrow's gonna be the same aspect. It's gonna be tough. So hopefully I can make a video so that way you guys are covered for tomorrow. Let's see what we got in here. I'm being shaky right now from holding this phone. I'm gonna be racing at TX2K this year. You and Gappy are the only two competing at a high level in the VA chassis. IAG is definitely competing as well. IAG's has gone faster than us. I believe they went 860, and I've gone at 895 as of this last season. So I feel I'm definitely getting my car worked out more. I can tell you, boys, we are obviously all about track and drag racing. I have several customers that are about autocross and road course racing, but in the end, me being about drag racing, track tuning is a lot different than dyno tuning. So I spent a lot this year learning how to short track tune, and it paid off. We're definitely making some big strides. TX2K this year, no, I will not be racing there. I didn't sign up, and I know that they're already filled up. So unfortunately, no, I will not be. Will I spectate? There's probably a good chance. Tanner, I hate you for doing that soft inlet. You chose soft inlet over power. Yeah. Do you ever see yourself building a Toyota? I just don't feel a need to build a Toyota. Not saying I don't like them, but let me take that back. Maybe a Supra. But I don't know if I like their interior. Appreciate you, John. Epi Green made 470, fun, reliable, just rods and pistons, stocks head. Fuel system throughout. Works great for 12,000 miles. Yes, sir. And it will continue to keep working great for probably triple that mileage. Do you have suspension for the Fozzie before the coilers? I actually did. I just put what was on my last Forester, which was just STI struts with lowering springs. It didn't ride that great, though. Your opinion on 2mm rods? I've used them. I don't use them. I just don't see a need, to be honest with you. I make power just fine on standard stroke and rev it to 10,000. I know you need to come back up. Bring that black up here. Can't thank you enough for always guiding me when I need help in my car. Always doy. One day, you will come back for more power. How's it going? Built LGT. What injector should I get 400 wheel on pump with my Epi Green? ID 1050Xs would be a good fit for you. If you do plan on going past 420, 450 wheel, I would definitely recommend moving up to some ID 1300s. What else we got in here? Just got my new GS front mount for my 04 Forester today. That's badass. Congratulations. I actually saw the Forester and it is pretty much done. I got to stop by tomorrow to give them the final okay on everything. I ordered a new fuel system for that you guys are going to like. We're going to be testing something new on it. See if I can get something that works really well for street car oriented builds and be able to support big power. I agree with John. That cocktail mix, that does wonders. Gets better with time as well. If you're hiring, I'll be sending out my application. Unfortunately, I'm not. I just stick to myself, and I do my best on scheduling and do my best to keep up with everything. Thanks, Frederick. Stock block, would you still recommend the FE green? Absolutely. I'd recommend even FE black. I'd recommend 6466, 7275. Do Manley pistons cost slap? It's not the piston that causes slap. It's going to be the PTW, piston to wall clearance. Clearance does a lot to do with that to an extent. They do have a coating on the side. I definitely don't have too many issues with piston slap. Yeah. Running an IAG block, 500 kilowatts. Do I need the sequential to get more power, or will it hold 700 kilowatts? I mean, I don't know what kilowatts transfers to horsepower, but I don't see why you would need a sequential to get more power. Restock your sweaters. Well, that was what the wife was just down here yelling at me about. Apparently she's trying to do some form of an order for you guys on a new shirt. Frederick coming down from SoCal. Nope, it's the stock 6466 with an NA manifold. Damn. Throw the NA manifold in the garbage. Why are you bringing that shit? Just put the stock one on it. You gotta make my job hard. Are you gonna come down to Minnesota? Have you heard about NF? I have not. Maybe have them reach out to me. Have you ever built a factory closed deck 2.0 or 2.2? I actually have long ago. I ran it in stock form, but they don't like pump gas. I'm talking about the 2.2, by the way. They really don't like pump gas. They benefited a lot with ethanol. To be honest with you, I don't support anything under a 2.5 anymore. I would just recommend going to 2.5 and do it right. I need someone who tunes with a non-RM. Hey Josh, I hope your night is good. Will just 1050 injectors be enough to run cob intake and downpipe? Absolutely. You actually would have quite a bit of fuel system there for that, to be honest with you, Asher. The 1050s and doing like an AM 340, my experience, you can 420 to 475 wheel. That's where you get on ethanol. On pump gas, you can push it further. But yes, that would be plenty of fuel for what you need. What's the most you can push on FP Green? Well, we still hold the record. I went 1048 at 130 miles an hour. That car made 600 wheel plus. How come I don't talk about timing when it comes to tuning? Well, I don't want to give away the chef's recipe, bud. If the STI stock is an E-tune worth it, totally new to the game. You know, being in stock form, there's a lot to be gained in general. I definitely would recommend a Pro Tune no matter what, especially if you do want to do some spirited driving or rip on it. The stock tunes are pretty nerve-wracking when you see them. We did a good video on that comparison. If you look back about a year on our channel, the stock tune versus Cobb Stage 1 versus ours, and I think that'd be really good for you to watch, Caleb. Let's see, what else we got in here? Try to get back down a little bit more. What are the first power mods you would do to 0405 Forester XT? So the 0405 Forester XT come with the TD04 turbo, and that thing is a letdown. I would recommend an STI turbo, and it would be supported by the fuel system in that, because that's technically like an STI anyways. I know it has side feed, but you could simply put an STI turbo and top mount on it and gain quite a bit of power. A downpipe and intake would help, definitely, but that's what I would recommend along with a boost controller. Let's see, what else we got in here? I have a 07 Fozzy, 2 codes. Intake manifold runner control stuck open, and runner position. Almost sounds like you got some TGV codes. Melbourne, Australia. I appreciate the support all the way from Australia, guys. Trans Cocktail, do you use regular 7590 Redline or 7590 MT? I use standard 7590, guys. We don't have E85 in Canada. You better be ordering some, pal. We're gonna need some E85 if you're trying to party. Come on. What we could do other things, you know, like Q16, C16, M109, things like that. What date will you be in Marietta? So we haven't talked about what date I'm coming down. I've just been doing some e-tuning while they're on the dyno, taking care of them on builds they're at, but I will be updating everyone when I do go down there so that we have a chance. Let's see. Full recap. STI runs from the cop. So curious why the car shut off mid-chase. I don't want to go fully into it just because it'll take quite a bit of time, but that car had issues with the Boomba throttle body and the factory ECU. Something just was never right when it was assembled, or that Boomba throttle body, which is also on VA now, and it still has issues to this day, even with a Motec. But it threw a code for throttle position, and once it did that, it disabled the throttle completely. So that's why the car shut off mid-chase. And so then I was trying to clear the code and so forth, and that becomes a much longer story. Maybe one day I will do it. My wife is already yelling at me. 1 hour in. There ain't no way we've been on here for an hour. Holy shit, we've been on here for an hour. Goes by quick. I'll never give up my Cosworth. Hey, pal, that shit made good power. I'm not knocking it. I like Cosworth. You can get E85 and drums delivered. See, there you go. That's what I would do. Love your channel. I'm in California. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Got a Pro Tune on my 2014 WRX. And heads E85 at 450 wheel. I bet that is ripping. AMS for the win. I agree. AMS is just too much power for Tanner. Thanks for the info. I'm a truck driver and your channel gets me through a lot of long trips. Well, I appreciate you, sir. I know I talk your ear off, so I'm sure it does help out a bit because I like talking. Make more videos of your daily life. Shit, I've only had that time. I'm sure it'd be fun, though. I daily drive a 15 STI. Owned it since new. Congratulations. It's been a long time since I bought a brand new one, and I wish they still made them because I would go buy a brand new one right now. Johnny Trans, oh, you did it. Yeah, 57 minutes. I can't believe I've been in here this long. What stage do you recommend? Aiming for mid-10s and daily drive it. What engine stage? I'm sorry. Our stage 4 does really good, to be honest with you. You've seen it range from, I've had it in a stock car all the way to VA being at 1100 plus wheels. So it covers all of your stages. My stage 4 would be a great option for you for 10s and daily drive it. I have a 19 STI. I bought a Killer Bee oil setup, AOS and 4th piston cooling mod. What do you recommend for safely daily horsepower? 19 STI, I mean, that's up to you. And I always say the owner dictates the longevity of the engine in their car anyways. So I would say one of our 500 wheel packages would be great. Enjoy your car, have a blast of it, and then when you do lose a motor, you can always go bigger, and we can do a 6466 on it, and so forth. Thank you, Junior. I appreciate you. I have a B4 Legacy running an 8474 Borg Warner. They always make them sound so big. Imagine if that shit was an 84 mil. It would never spool. Having issues fitting my 60 mil gate. Would you run a... God damn, why are you trying to run a 60 mil gate, pal? Would be a 44 mil gate be enough? Aiming for 750 on F1. Yeah, 44 would definitely be enough. Are you trying to use much of that wastegate? Probably not. Meaning, like, is the turbo able to flow that much? I don't know what an 8474 even is in the millimeter, but I know it ain't no 84 mil. They always have such big numbers. I think that's like a 67 mil. Hope to see you out again, Northwest Nights event. Awesome seeing the STI run. Bring the Lambo as well. Should be out in Spokane next year. Yeah, I'll absolutely come out. That was a really good event, to be honest, guys. We all appreciated it. We had a big group out there, so I appreciate you guys doing that. We had a blast doing the roll racing and the drag racing. And to be honest with you, you guys ran a really good show. So I'm looking forward to it. ain't it. Nothing good in Minnesota. I don't know. I don't know anyone over there. Sounds like I need to be over there. Got a Q. When it comes to stock location and staying emissions compliant would be the best turbo to get the power out of 93. I have all the supporting mods, built motor, and etc. Epi Black or BCP X500R definitely would be the two options I would recommend, where you can make 400 plus on 93. I had a stock motor customer over in, I want to say it was New York, and he had a BCP X500 plus on 93, and we made 440 on it. Yeah, that shit ripped. Chef recipe is top secret. Yes, sir. How does adjusting the stroke of a twin disc? Something I don't fully understand. I have read of overstroke. So that always has been seemed to be complicated, to be honest with you. We run XZE triples, and I don't have to do anything with that. Even like the ACT twins, we don't have to do what's called a pedal stop is the better term for it. It is a thing though. Obviously, if you push too far, it'll damage the clutch, it'll damage the main bearings in the engine, mainly the thrust bearing. So definitely want to get that right. Their instructions kind of seem a bit weird when you read them the first time. So my recommendation is just kind of sit down, breathe, read instructions, which none of us guys do well. And you'll figure it out. How long have you been owning a shop for a living? How long did it take to get on your feet? Guys, I've been working around Subarus now for close to 10 years. I started in this working out of a backyard. Didn't even have a garage. Didn't even have my own place. I was renting out of a place, worked in a backyard. It did have a concrete slab. That was nice to use. I started out with an 02WX Bug-Eye. Didn't have a single clue what I was doing. I came from Hondas. So once I went over to Subarus, I was like, what the hell is all this shit? Look at the top of this motor. These things are hideous. And I had bought the car. It had issues. It was breaking up. I couldn't figure out. I remember trying to find on the forums what the heck was going on. It seemed like everything I did wouldn't fix it. In the end, it ended up being a stuck TGV. So I remember pulling that intake manifold and pulling it apart the first time. And I was like, what the hell did I get myself into here? Why am I even owning this car? Why am I even working on it? So it's pretty crazy when you look back at the beginnings. I was working on my car more and more, and then word of mouth spread, and then I was trying to help those that couldn't afford to go to a shop, and so I was helping them. And yeah, as time went on, it word of mouth spread. So think of this, 10 years ago, I've had my shop now for 2.5 years. I could have had a shop, to be honest with you, for the last 4.5 to 5 years easily, but getting your mind to wrap around that, to make the jump and have the overhead, it's pretty nerve-wracking. It's a pretty hard step to make, and especially if any of you have done a side gig or something on the side, understand, you have your 9 to 5, your kind of comfort zone to be able to cover your bills and have money and have something to kind of fall back on. And then when you leave that, not having anything to fall back on makes it really hard. So definitely could have had a shop for many more years if I had just made that jump to do it. Very happy I did. And then once I did, it seemed like everything kind of fell into place. My biggest advice to you here, Ricky, as I'm responding to this, is do it on your own. Sure, some partners work good together and it does work out, but to be honest with you, everybody has a different mindset. It doesn't matter what it is. Different mindset on how to build cars, different mindset, financial. Money is a big thing, right? Everybody has a different mindset. It doesn't matter who you are. So my advice would be to start your business by yourself, and the other side is to own everything. So when I moved into my shops, everything is owned. The only thing that we pay each month on is going to be the overhead of the shops, but the dyno, all the lifts, all the tools, everything I use, everything is owned. So that'd be my recommendation. That would definitely eliminate a lot of stress on you for each month and what's going out. So hopefully a touch base on that. Boy, I'm backed up in comments now. Media, little Cosworth cut and a weld would get that one down there. Yeah, come on, Tanner, you're a fab boy. Why don't you just cut that pretty little Cosworth up and we could have a hard inlet, baby. What do we got here? C85 from VP is 800 plus. Holy shit, they're taxed. That's almost like ours. Oh man, ours like $5.49 a gallon. Does Strayed have a website to get the rotated kits for my 07 STI? Graham, stay tuned, please, because I will be pushing them to do so. So don't lose faith. Kind of keep paying attention through the next month as they get set up in their new shop, and some new things are going to be coming. Do you ever come down to Florida? I said I would never go back to Florida. I went down to Florida for FL2K. I don't know how you guys live there. That place so humid. I don't like being sticky. And I walked outside and I was sticky. So I said, no, I ain't going back there. What else we got? I always hear you say throw those ARP 2000 in the trash, so I was worried about my 1/2 inch in my built motor. You just made my day. Alex, no fear. You got the good ones, boy. The other ones, the little 11 mil boys, throw that shit in the trash. That's where they belong. Stock head bolts cannot hold those things. Do you think the precision stock location turbo? I talked about that a little bit earlier, Graham, and I had a customer that had one. It worked well. It seemed like it was a little bit lazier. I still think I prefer the FP Black over it. I want to E-tune with you, but looks like I got here. I would happy to get you taken care of E-tunes, boys. I look forward to seeing you in California. I look forward to seeing you too, Kenny. All the way from Australia. We got some Australia boys in here. Surprised you guys are sticking with me here. I'm probably going to jump off in not too much longer because it's already coming up on my bedtime. By bedtime, I mean go do emails and e-tuning. I appreciate you coming back and watching our Subi content. I lose lots of sleep time watching back-to-back videos. Shit, I appreciate that, Kenny. Australia, there's another one. When do you come to Sydney, Australia? I don't know, do you need a passport to go there? Because I don't got a passport. No problem, Ricky. Hopefully that went into some in-depth detail for you. There's definitely more to be said. Maybe one day I'll make a video on how I got to where I am today. I can definitely tell you that I came from nothing. There was times back when I had that WX I was just talking about where I didn't know how I was going to make odds and ends meet. I couldn't even afford to put gas in the thing. I had to think about the $10 in gas I put in if I was going to be able to eat that day. Things like that, guys. I definitely, very humble. I came from nothing. Not saying I'm at the top or in a huge place today, but definitely I am in a much better position than I was then. I need your BBR 700 package like yesterday. My STI has been down for so long. Shit. Let's get that thing up. Sounds like you need our BBR 800 package. Trying to link ECU with my tuner opinion. To be honest with you, I haven't tuned many or any links I should mention. But I've been around the links. I had one in one of my Evos. I briefly looked at the software. At that time, I was not a tuner by any means. I was just good friends with my tuner, so obviously I was looking at it as he was doing it, but the information never stuck with me. It's not like I clicked and looked at it. So, link ECU, the thing that you always hear is it's very similar to a Motec, but I haven't looked at it in a long time to be able to tell you if that's true or not. I don't think it's a bad option for you, Tyler. My best advice I can give you is that it doesn't matter the ECU or the software or whatever you use. The software is only as good as its user. Can you e-tune for speed density? I absolutely can, Joey. 11 mil ARP 2000, 50 poles in, and I send my crossover pipe to the moon. Doy, you definitely went to the moon. Nino, when will your e-tunes be available again? There actually are. If you email me, I'll get you in a spot. But I am always full. But if you email me at the bbrtuned@gmail.com, I'll do my best to work you in. Dark matter shifter for the car. You have to let me know what you think of that one because I'm curious. Get this old girl into the 9s. I'm about it. I'm definitely about it. I need to relocate to Texas. Shit, my wife would be thrilled about that. She definitely wants me to move out of here because of our snow, which, joke's on her. That shit melted in like a day. Can you send us a block to Australia to grow your brand? I don't know if I don't ship to Australia already. Should be on the website. Thank you. I appreciate you, George. I definitely do. Is there advantage to speed density over MAF for a sub 500 car? I would prefer speed density, but it comes down to who's tuning your car, to be honest with you. It kind of comes back to the comment I made before, where the software is only as good as its user. I use speed density day in and day out, so I feel a lot more comfortable with it, but I can definitely tune the car for MAF. I do my fair share of those as well. Tur from New Zealand. How's it going, Junior? It's awesome to see how far you've made it, old days, with nothing to twin turbo Lambo in your own business. You know, it's crazy when you sit back. I just don't get a lot of time to sit there and like actually see where you are. And to be honest with you guys, as you go on with time, I always create new goals, right? So you create a goal and you push to achieve it, and then you achieve it and you create another new goal. Sometimes you overlook the goals that you've achieved. So I definitely do appreciate that a lot. And I'm definitely very appreciative of where I am today. And I think that comes across in our videos, and, you know, being humble. I'm no different than you guys. Thanks for reading my comments, of course. Well deserved. I appreciate you, sir. What's the power limit on Cobb 20G, and how do you feel about them? I've tuned lots of Cobb 20Gs. I've had a couple impress me. I've had several lack, but I've had a couple impress me. I think I've seen as much as 450 wheel on one, which I was leaning on it, but it made pretty good power. Good morning from South Africa. Damn, it's morning over there. It's almost 10 p.m. here. No problem, Tyler. How much you charge for dyno tuning? I would be coming from Canada, but to be honest, I only think I would trust you. I appreciate that, Jonathan. We charge the same as we do for e-tuning. So I charge $1,000 for pump gas, or $1,500 for flex fuel, or multiple fuel maps like pump gas and E85. Doesn't matter. That's just what it is across the board. Even if you go to another shop that I work with and tune for them, same price. It snows in Texas? Shit, I was wrong about life then. But I like snow. That's good to know, Kenny. I guess it probably depends on which portion you are. Don't you guys have fucking tornadoes, though? I'm scarred for life because when I was a kid, I had to deal with one of those things. My boy back home from Vietnam, gonna need BBR for a 6466. We run E98 back there. Let's do it. Come to California close by. I mean, I'll visit. I'll fly down. Tyler, speed density. Stu. Love watching your videos about a car I've owned. Are one of the best. Of course. I'll bring it up to you and you can try it yourself. See what she makes on the new dyno. Maybe 1100. I'm all about it. I mean, let's do it. That has the original 7685, so Gen 2, not the next gen. But I have no doubt that we could definitely make some jam. With your car, the last time on the dyno, I think we made 950 Mustang. Some damn good power. Feel like I've learned quite a bit since then, too. Every day is a learning experience. Remember that, guys. I mean, every day you learn something. Never feel like you know everything or there's nothing else to learn, because there always is something to learn. Should come down to SoCal and do a tuning weekend. That's actually in the plans. If you would like to be part of that, reach out to Metro Performance, and I'd be happy to get you taken care of. I live over in Everett. Need to come over that way to get a tune. No good tuners over in the West. Andy, I'd be happy to get you taken care of, buddy. If you send me an email, we could figure out something. I think this is good information for everybody. I usually keep it about 1 to 2 weeks out for dyno tunes. E-tunes, sometimes I get a little bit backed up, as those take a little bit more time depending on the customer. So hopefully that gives you some information. So stoked for you and your success. I'll get an ask for it and definitely want to get an E-tune from you. I appreciate that, Paulie. I will definitely be happy to be a part of your build. A treat catching you live. I know this is a rare experience. And like I said, I'm probably going to have to wrap it up here soon because I got to go take care of some emails. And I got to catch up on some e-tunes, and then, of course, I need some sleep before the morning. No problem, Jeremy. I appreciate you. Thank you for hopping on here, and I'm glad that those helped, and hopefully I can be a further part of your build later on. And I also appreciate that I explain things more than most. Sometimes people say I talk too much, so hopefully I can maybe dumb that down a little bit. I'm not in Texas, but when I visit there is snow and ice. Adopt me, Daddy. Shit, adopt me. Any recommendations on a radiator for a 20G? I personally like Coil or CFF. Those are two great ones. You're going to find out in the Forester one. The next update, it has a Mishimoto. Not really my preferred route, but that's just what was in stock. So that way, if you see that and you're like, he didn't recommend that, why did you get that? That's why. Looking to get a Subi, any myths that aren't true? Yeah, probably the biggest myth, that their motors can't handle power. Stock motors can't handle power. How is it to remove an EJ 2.5 intake manifold in TGV? It's not the most fun job. It also depends on the year. 08 plus gets harder. 17 plus gets harder. 18 plus because of all the PCV stuff. Just take your time. If you need to, label some things. It definitely may feel a little bit overwhelming, but just remember that those plugs can only plug into one place, so that might help you. What's the benefit of speed density over airflow meter tuning? Does it allow for extra power? No, I don't. I don't want to say it allows for extra power. It's a different way of tuning. Older school technology obviously would be like blow-through maps. That was well before my time of tuning. I can't say I've ever tuned anything with one. So speed density is newer age, I would assume, technology that I use every day. So I don't think that it's gaining power just because of it, right? It's just a different way to tune power. That's most common for bigger power. Do you think the FA20 platform is worth putting money into? That's a tough one. You know, they do pretty good up to about the 400 wheel territory, and then after that, it gets quite expensive. I would definitely recommend an STI, to be honest with you. And I know they're not the cheapest to get up past that 500 wheel region, but it's definitely a much better platform to start with. No problem, Kenny. You have a good night, buddy. Troy, big thank you for telling the transparency about all you do. I appreciate that, Troy. I try to be as transparent as possible. Some take that and use that against us, unfortunately. You know, they see an engine failure and they think that we're the only ones that ever have had one. And then there's obviously the ones that understand that if you're doing something crazy, engine failures will happen. Get that stage 4 engine in, bring her back to Canada for some body work, and then next up we'll be back to you for 400 or 500 package. I'm in, Sebastian. I'm glad you got the shipping figured out because I know that was kind of a stressful thing for you. All right, guys, you got me for another 10 or so minutes. Would you sleeve and stroker kit? I would not. Just run a standard 2.5. Don't complicate it. The only stuff I've seen from stroker kits is engine failures and engines not living that long, to be honest with you. There's no reason to sleeve either. We run just normal closed decks with big power. Does number while watt and A flaring 1 mean a boost leak? Not necessarily. Let's see. Damn, did I make it to the end of the comments list? This is a miracle. 5862 or 5858. Drama, what engine? Tell me if it's a FA or EJ, please. What gaskets do you run on your Stage X block? We run a custom head gasket on that block. It does have a true firewalk, by the way. How much power does the EJ20X hold reliably? None. Please don't buy that engine because it's not worth it. Good seeing you on live, man. Have Chris and Craig on the channel and in your backyard. It will be awesome. You all deserve it. I appreciate that, buddy. It's going to be a blast having them behind us. It's a big opportunity for us both to grow together, and I'm really leaning on those guys and pushing them to go to the next step. they're a bit distant when it comes to the social media stuff, as you already know. So I'm definitely trying to push them to be more open to that, and they're finally becoming more open and understanding that people just want to see the work. You know, if they judge you as a person, it don't matter. You know, you just got to get thicker skin. I remember starting YouTube and people making comments, and it was kind of hard to get past of. But to be honest with you, YouTube honestly made me a lot stronger as a person. Comments don't faze me nearly like what they do anymore. It takes a lot to get under my skin. So it really leveled me off and made me grow up as an adult. I love you. I respect your Subaru knowledge, and you're such a G. I appreciate that, buddy. I appreciate if you guys hit like as well. Just wondering, after you do your builds and a 2,500 mile break-in, do you usually want the car back if easily available, or do you prefer to just send tune out? So that happens in different points, Troy. I had one scenario where I did the full power tune and gave it to the customer. They lived about 5 hours away. Keep in mind, it was a pretty simple car. It was like one of our stage 3 blocks, a piston and rod motor, stock heads, with a basic, I want to say it was a stage 2 upgrade package. Nothing crazy. I just wasn't happy with some of the drivability I was doing on the break-in tune, which most of the time I'll just do the break-in tune on the street. I won't even put it on the dyno. Not really a need for it for me to. But I just wasn't happy with some of the aspects of the drivability for some reason on that car. So I put it on the dyno, and I just went ahead and power tuned the car. And then I gave them the option to have their 2,500 mile warranty, or they could void their warranty and have the power tune right then. They chose, obviously, to take their 2,500 mile warranty. And then when they finished up afterwards, I told them just let me know, and I sent them over their power tune. Drama 2020 STI. So you said, if I scroll back up here, 5862 or 5858. To be honest with you, are you against doing a 6466? Because I have done the 5858. It's not that it's bad at all. If you go back and you look at the channel, or you look at Devin's channel, if you're familiar with it, Bobby's car had one on it on the stock motor. It came in at 4,000 RPMs. I believe we maxed that turbo out right around the 550 to 600 wheel region. That was all in. It was like 34 pounds, and then it would taper down to 28 out the back. It did suffer a turbo failure a couple times throughout that, and the stock motor kept living through it. If you had a 6466, I could make that power easier, and that would definitely help keep that factory motor together. So that's why I recommend the 6466, really, to be honest with you. 105 housing, and I could make it come in 300 RPMs later than your 5858, and you'd have a turbo that would be capable of making 800 wheel down the road. So that's why I would rather see you guys buy things once than buy them multiple times, because obviously this is not a cheap sport, and it'd be nice if you could buy things once and use them. Does closed deck versus open deck mean? So, Brandon, closed deck is what it sounds like. You have a closed deck on your engine with some coolant ports that are obviously through it to be able to have cooling. Open deck is going to be, imagine a cylinder wall with it being completely open around it for coolant to be around it. If you Google it, you'll find some good aspects of that. Wayne, I appreciate you, buddy. I see FP made a BB version of the blue. Interesting. If they make a ball bearing in green, bet your ass I'm buying that shit. But I'm kind of interested in ball bearing blue. I'm going to take a look at that afterwards. I am the tuner, Kenny. See you later, John. Appreciate you, buddy. I definitely let this go a lot longer than I originally intended. I intended this to be 30 minutes, but I'm letting more people hop in here and try to answer some questions. Good setup for 400 wheel STI of a fresh 19 RA block. Good setup, huh? Depends. Pump gas 385. That would definitely matter. Pump gas 400 wheel, I would definitely push you towards FP green or black. Any experience of an M-Tron? Graham, I am going to here in the near future because I need to tune one on those. So no, I have not. End of the day, tuning's tuning, right? But learning a new ECU definitely takes a bit of time and understanding the logic of it. So I will be looking at M-Tron here in the near future to tune a car for a customer. How do you figure out to get a reliable 550 to 600 wheel? Oh, sorry. How much you figure to get to a reliable? Our 600 wheel packages usually start around 30. To keep in mind, that number has kind of changed as parts have gotten more expensive. but that gives you kind of an idea there. And it's starting with a stock car on that one, Jonathan. To make 1,000 horsepower, you have to do it right. Absolutely, John. I couldn't agree more. How long can I stay on the stage 1 on the OTS map? I mean, you can stay on it. In my experience, the Cobb stage 1 map is definitely a lot better than the factory map, hands down. If you relate back to a video like I mentioned earlier, I think it was about a year ago, we did Josh's STI stock form, then we did stage 1, and then I did a custom stage 2 tune on it, and then overlaid them all. It really shows you the in and outs of why having a tune on these things is so ideal. It's a great video to watch. I definitely would recommend a Pro Tune. Install the boost gauge and teed into the vacuum line. Running to the wastegate. Is this acceptable? Export reads 4 psi higher than the boost gauge. Any thoughts? I would pick a different spot, to be honest, Joey. I would tee it off the blow-off valve, not the wastegate there, and that should give you a better reading. What do you think of electric wastegates? I actually want to try one, Michael. I haven't tried one yet. I'm definitely open to. I guess that's a lie, because I have tried them on the new 22WX. It works really good. But I'm thinking aftermarket ones, and I definitely want to try an aftermarket one here soon. Man, I'm getting dry throat. I need to drink something here. All right, guys, you got me for 8 more minutes. I'm going to be on here until 10. So ask your questions away, and I will do my best here. Any FA20 goodies coming? Got tuned by JR. Pitt, JR is my dog. So congrats to you. He is your tuner. I will let him recommend what upgrades you should be doing on there. Which, if you got tuned by him, that means you got tuned by one of his shops, so reach out to one of them. Bobby's stock motor took a lot of hits on highways. It sure did, until old Devin Boy had to play Mischief Jimmy. FP Black or rotate, power goals of 500. You know, at the end of the day, doing a proper FP Black setup is within 1,000... I'd say 1,500 to $2,000 of a proper rotated setup. So that's where you got to decide, you know, for your future goals. Are you going to want more than 500, or are you going to be happy at 500? Because, not saying you can't make more than 500 on that FP Black and stock location, but to go past the 650 realm, I would definitely recommend rotated. Cobb 20G or green on pump gas? Definitely the green, because it is larger and you will be able to get more power out on pump gas. And it actually spools about the same. Is FP Blue garbage? In my opinion, yes, it is. And you guys know I'm an FP fan. I am not an FP Blue fan. I despise those turbos. They suck. A lot of people use them. They suck because I feel like they should make more power than what they do, but that's my opinion. I got a 19 STI. I'm looking to upgrade to a higher power around 800 to 900. I currently stage 2 at the moment. How much do you think it would cost altogether? Our 800 wheel package, even with your stage 2 mods, ours starts around $45,000 for that package. But everybody does it, you know, in different realms. Some do it in pieces, some do it at once. AK, yep, that is right, Troy. We are doing that to yours, and it is mid 40K depending on options. I enjoy all your videos that you pop up out there, especially the ones that you take at the moon. Those are my favorite. You hear my voice getting raspy as I can barely talk. May have answered this earlier, but is there a pro or con to Garrett versus Precision? Looking for 500 wheel and pump, G30 or G35 are Precision equivalent. So I've used a lot of Garrett turbos in my past. They're great turbos. They live for a long time. Being coolant cooled, they definitely work better in like track racing orientants, like road racing, autocross, things like that. Drag racing, they kind of fall short in the power department. 500 wheel goal there. A GTX 3576 is one of my favorite turbos, to be honest with you. Gen 2, that shit works. I can bring those in 4,000 RPMs full power and have the capability of making 600 plus wheel. So those work really good. I really like my Precision 6466. That comes in 300 RPMs later than that 3576, but can make up to 800 wheel. So it just gives you a nice realm if you ever want to grow. Do you recommend a 6466 for the STI? I think I just kind of touched base on that. What about for Evo 10s? I had an Evo 10 with a 6.466 on pump gas, and that shit ripped. I'd say get away from the stock location stuff on the Evo 10s. I haven't really got to try too much FP turbos on them, though. Max horsepower you can push on STI on E85 while still feeling close to stock drivability. 1,000 wheel. I can make shit drive like stock. That answers that, John. I know that's kind of a loose answer, but I definitely focus a lot on drivability, and there's some people in here that are tuned by me that can relate that to you in here as well. Any pros to water meth over E85? There actually is. I touched on this earlier in here. If it lets you go back, I talked a bit about that, but I definitely would prefer E85 over it. Love the Fozzy content. Me as well. Congrats on your 07. Fluxville you recommend. IBR. There you go. John's got a turbo for you boys in here. John can tell you about my drivability. We also made 700 plus wheel on his stock long block. What are your thoughts on Kozmic? I'm close with the owner, David. Been close to him for many years now. He's helped me on some things in the background with my Motec gauge cluster, just setting up some parameters on there. That's where the mechanical fuel pump kit comes from that I run on VA. Good guys over there. I don't have any problems with them. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just scrolling down to try to make sure I got the rest of these, as you got 3 minutes. Gonna be coming down for TX2K next year. I'll probably come down and spectate. I've came down every year for the last, I believe, 4 years now. I'd love to see you and Devin do a build game together. Well, we just don't get the time, unfortunately. I heard you partnered up with Metro Performance of SoCal. I plan on getting on the Dyno soon and would like for you to tune in the near future. Yes, sir. That is correct. I just did 2 cars for them, and they are super happy with the results, and we will be looking forward to working with them in the future. How much can a semi-closed deck EJ safely handle at forged internals? So as time goes on, it seems like I keep pushing that limit further and further. The correct term for your safely handle, I would say 550 to 650, in that realm. 650 leaning on it, but let's say you keep it at that 500 to 550 range, you can definitely get, that higher mileage out of it. Let's say 75,000 miles, something like that out of it. As you go up in power, it's always a chance you can out around the cylinder walls. So then it would shorten life. And not saying that like it's going to blow up. There's obviously a chance of cracking the sleeve, right? Which I haven't really had issues with for a long time. Definitely being my own tuner and testing and pushing the limits and controlling cylinder pressure, I've learned a ton of that. So to answer your question, 500 to 550 is a really good safe realm for a stock case. You can definitely go past that. Would you e-tune a Haltech 2500? Yes, Alex, I would, and I have. I definitely could get you taken care of. I do charge a little bit more for the standalone stuff. I charge $1,500 for pump gas and $2,000 for flex, just so you know. But if you just email me, I could definitely get you taken care of. All right, we're back down to the last minutes here. I'm going to answer this one. Plans. What are the plans for next drag season? We have a lot of things coming out for next drag season, guys. This is a great way to end this out. There's 2 more builds that are getting added on as we speak right now that are going to be absolutely killer. It's pretty crazy what's going to come for next year. I know I'm kind of thinking about what's in there, but next year's going to be a really good year. I plan on racing VA some more. I've been back and forth about, racing the stock long block. Not so much racing. I want to put a built motor in the car to push the car further, because on the pass it did send a rod through the top. I broke a rod bolt on it. It was on its way to a mid-8, and the short track showed it. It coasted to a 9.0 at 130 miles an hour, and it lost the motor shortly after the 8th. So it's definitely there. I would like to push the stock long block that's in the car to the 8s. now that I made that 1170 on my dyno with Jeff's car, it has me curious. Because if you guys remember, Hyper Blue, exact same setup, made 1,007 or 1,000, just over 1,000 on Mustang dyno on 61 pounds. That's 11 pounds more than Jeff's. Pretty crazy. I'm curious what it was making, so that's where I'm kind of tempted to throw a built motor into V8 and put it on the dyno and just send it for the boys. Even if that means putting the gate line right to the top of the gate and just let the 7685 make whatever it's going to make. So really excited for next year. I am going to wrap this up, boys. I appreciate all of you, especially all the ones that stayed in here. I definitely appreciate it. This is my first live. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I am sorry I did not have a video up today, but hopefully this makes up for it. I'll do my best to make a video for tomorrow. So thanks again, boys. I appreciate all of you. I'm sorry if I didn't get to answer your question. I try to do my best and answer all these. You guys have a great night, guys.